Hello, everyone. Just gonna wait for some people to tune in. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Sorry I'm tuning in late. Uh, had meetings. Gonna wait for you to tune in. Say hi, as you come in. Say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm in sunny Florida. I'm in Lake Mary, which is in suburbs of Orlando, but I represent clients all over the United States. So in every 50 states, immigration is a federal law, so it doesn't really matter where you're located. I can assist you with your immigration matter. Hi, Wealthy Simbi on Instagram. Hi, Oluwaseun on Facebook from Indianapolis. Hi, Alex. Yeah, where are you guys tuning in from? Oh, I have another person too on Instagram from Indianapolis. Indianapolis in the house today. How's everyone doing? Today, I really just want to. Hi, Brandon. Brandon says I'm locked in New York. Locked in. Thank you. I actually was in New York. I just literally got back on Monday. So and it was super cold and very rainy the entire weekend in New York. Melissa Adams says, I love you from New Jersey. I was in New Jersey as well. My family actually lives in New Jersey. And so just it was nice to spend some time with them after 2 years. Hi, Poppy. Thanks for logging in. So today I really just want to take you guys questions. I have a couple of frequently asked questions that I get that I'm just going to sort of go over the questions. But, I want you guys to feel, free to put your comment in the comment box or your question. And I will be happy to answer your questions. Brendan says, yeah, the Memorial Weekend was a rainy mess. A mess indeed it was. It was so disappointing, but, what are we going to do? Okay, guys. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, this is your first live. My name is Aisha Chidowe. I'm an immigration attorney. As I mentioned earlier, I represent clients in all parts of the United States with your immigration matter. I'm physically located in Florida with an office in Atlanta, but we have clients in every single state. So it doesn't really matter where you're located. I get a lot of frequently asked questions about immigration, and my whole goal when I do this lives is really just to be able to answer the questions that I can, for you guys, and just to help you guys understand the immigration process a little bit more. So one of the things I just wanted to talk about, because this keeps coming up all the time, is for people who have pending VAWA petitions. For those of you who don't know what a pending VAWA petition is, VAWA stands for Violence Against Women's Act. And this is a petition that you file when you've either been in an abusive or extremely cruel marriage with a U.S. citizen or a green card holder spouse, or you've been in an abusive relationship with your parent is abusive towards you, and they're U.S. citizens or green card holder, or even your step parents. A lot of step kids, sometimes deal with that, where their step parent is just really horrible to them. And then it also applies to you if you are a parent who's been being abused, being treated extremely cruelly by your U.S. citizen child that's over the age of 21. So those are the category of people that cover VAWA. Today, I specifically want to talk about the marital basis. So those people who qualify for VAWA based on their marriage to a partner that's mean to you or horrible, cruel to you. So one question that I get all the time is that, I have this VAWA petition pending. I've divorced my spouse. I'm in a new relationship. My spouse wants to marry me. Can I just get married? Can I remarry the person? And so the answer is no, absolutely not. You cannot remarry until they make a decision on your case. And if you guys see me going up and down, is because I have one phone on Instagram, one on Facebook, YouTube. So I'm moving my face so everybody can see me. But again, as I was saying, if you have a pending VAWA case and you've divorced that spouse that you're filing for VAWA on the basis of, please do not remarry. Date your person all you want. You can date and whatever, but just don't get remarried, because if you remarry, basically you're abandoning your petition. So basically your petition becomes null and void. So in situations like that, please don't do that. Another area that people ask is, with the same VAWA is that, I'm separated from my spouse, can I still qualify, to file my petition? So the answer is yes, you can still qualify to file your petition even if you were separated, because remember, we're looking at the abuse that occurred when you and your spouse were living together. Remember, cohabitation, living together, is a requirement. Even if you live together for a short time, because there's no minimum time, as long as we can show that there was a period of time when you lived together, that's fine. Even if you separate, you can still file. The only warning about that is that if you do get divorced, you want to try and file your VAWA petition within 2 years of the divorce decree. So the divorce decree that says your divorce is final, you want to make sure that you submit your VAWA case before the 2-year anniversary of that date, because after 2 years, you'll no longer be eligible. Okay. And then in the same light, people ask, okay, I've put in my VAWA petition. Do I still need to stay with my spouse? Can I get a divorce? So the answer is you can get a divorce if you want to. If you're not ready to get a divorce, you don't have to get a divorce. Personally, I wouldn't stay in an abusive marriage, but what I'm saying is that, everybody's situation is different. For some people, they might feel that they need they want to wait, until they get their green card, so they have the financial freedom, to leave, or the way they feel like their spouse so carefully monitors them that even if they left, they'll haunt them, so if you need to stay, you stay, but you just make sure that you stay safe, while you're with that person. But if you wanted to leave, you can leave. Let me answer some questions before I, go through the list. So Leo says, I was approved for my green card since 2019. I can't get an answer when I call. What do you mean? So you were approved for your green card. So you didn't did you get your green card? When you call who? I guess that's the first question. Who did you call that you can't get an answer? Are you talking of USCIS, and stuff like that? If you can just be a little bit more clear, I'll be happy to answer you. And brings you over 3 years. Can you file for citizenship while you're waiting for your VAWA approval? Absolutely. Yes, you can file for citizenship while you are waiting for your conditional green card to be approved. And for those of you who don't know, I think I lost my signal on Instagram. Can you guys still see me? Comment in the box at Instagram if you can still see me and let me know, because I think I disappeared for a second. So the answer to Poppy's question is that yes, if you do. So for those who file conditional green cards, you can, we don't technically call it VAWA, but it's still under the same premise of extreme cruelty and battery. So sometimes you can remove the conditions on your green card if your spouse has been extremely cruel to you, right, and has treated you badly. And in those cases, in order to do that, you sort of have to go through the same exact process. When your time hits 3 years, so the time you count from is the time when you first got your conditional green card. So if you got your temporary green card in, let's say, 2020, right? In 2023, even if your stuff is pending, your conditional removal is pending, you can be eligible to file for citizenship. Here is my recommendation. If you're eligible for, eligible for citizenship, you want to make sure that you have really strong bona fides, that there's without a reasonable doubt that you will get approved before you file for naturalization. But if you do have that, filing for naturalization helps actually to speed up your case, because they have to then act and make the decision on both cases. So sometimes that can speed up your case. So if you have a lot of bona fides, really strong evidence of your marriage, and whatever else that you experience, certainly You can apply within that 3-year timeline. Otherwise, if you have a joint removal where you and your spouse have no issues and you're doing a joint removal of conditions and you're just waiting, you can then just also do it, the naturalization, at the 3-year mark without having to wait. Okay, let me take some questions on Instagram. How long does it take for an appealed case to be answered? So the answer really is it depends. It depends on what you're appealing. Like sometimes these cases can take years. Sometimes it could take several months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. So it really depends on what it is, that you're appealing. So let's see, what else do we have here? Courage Peterson says, my 10-year extension is expired. What do I do? Your 10-year extension for what? Can you be a bit more specific, Courage? What is your 10-year extension? What were you extending? What did they extend for 10 years? Do you mean your green card? Do you mean that your 10-year green card expired? So just clarify for me. This person said, I did my I-485 interview 4 months ago. Now they told me that I would hear back from them within 120 days, and I'm yet to hear from them. What should I do? So 120 days. If you haven't heard from them now, Andrea, one of the things you can do is you can do a service inquiry. You can either do that online or you can call them on the phone. It's very difficult sometimes calling them on the phone, to get anybody on the phone, but you can definitely try and do a service inquiry just to find out what's the status of your case. And if they're not responding to you, there are other methods and processes that we can use. Sometimes we help you contact your local congressman or congresswoman, or we go through an ombudsman just to get an advocate for you that can help to push your case, forward or put it back on your table so that they can make a decision. Because after 6 months, you're definitely passing, the timeline after an interview. So that's something you can definitely call us and maybe we can see if we can assist you with. My number is 407-995-6567. So Courage, so you said your I-751 extension is expired. Okay, so if your I-751 extension is expired, what you can actually do is you can actually call USCIS, call their 1-800 number, and you can schedule for what we call an info pass. An info pass will allow you to take your passport to the USCIS field office in your area and get it stamped. So they're going to give you a temporary 1-year stamp while your case is pending. So if your case is still pending, they'll give you a stamp. So for those of you who don't know, conditional green cards take a really, really long time. Like I feel like after asylum, this takes the longest time. I think their philosophy, their philosophy is maybe, don't quote me on that, but I don't know if it's because, with conditional green card, they're green card holders. So there's more priority dealing with people who don't have green cards and getting them processed quickly. I really don't know, but it just takes a long time, which is why they give you an 18-month extension. And a lot of times after that 18 months, you're going to need to get another stamp. Just go get that stamp, so at least, you can continue to work and travel out of the country if you need to. Tanucci on Instagram says, if you got married in June, how long after you're married does it take for you to get your work permit? Well, slow your roll. You don't get your work permit until you actually petition. So you need to actually file a petition. So the first question is, when are you petitioning? So basically, once you petition, the timeline, honestly, could range anywhere from 4 months to 8 months. So that's obviously a very long timeline. And I say that to say, it just really depends on the, who's working on your case, who's processing your case, what the field office is, or the service center is. Some people are really lucky. They even get theirs early. I've had clients get theirs in 2 months. Now, saying 2 months, it's not the norm. It's an anomaly. It doesn't happen often. But the average time is somewhere between 4 to 8 months. Within that time, they will consider it within a reasonable time. So if you say, oh, I'm not getting my work permit, and it's only been like 6 months, they'll say, well, you're still within the reasonable time. So hopefully you'll be closer to getting yours earlier than later. Okay, let me take a question on Instagram. Facebook. If I'm on a visa and I overstay, can my brother file for me? So if you're on a visa and you've not overstayed, go back home. Let me tell you something. Siblings is the worst kind of petition to wait for. This is my personal opinion. It takes 15 to 16 years. And imagine after waiting 15 to 16 years, getting a visa available, and you still have to go back home because you're not going to be eligible because you overstayed. So normally, if the person petitioning for you is not considered an immediate family, you're going to be in what we call a family preference category. And everyone in the family preference category, unless you qualify for VAWA, or some other kind of benefit like Tier U, you have to go back to your home country to process it. And before you go back, you have to request a hardship waiver. And sometimes you don't qualify for the hardship waiver if you don't have a qualifying relative. So, my recommendation is if you're still on your visa, do not overstay here. You're better off waiting back in your home country, because the worst thing is being here for 15 and 16 years without any paperwork, without anything or no any path, unless maybe you get married along the way. If you get married, then great, you can then file that. But just siblings just really takes a really, really long time. Let's see. All right, let me go back to Instagram. When you remarry and file for adjustment of status, what information will USCIS require from the old marriage other than the divorce decree? No petition was filed in the first marriage. So your divorce decree is really the most important piece of information that they need. And I just want to spend about 5 minutes talking about this divorce decree, especially if you're from Nigeria, Ghana, or any of these, I would say more of the English-speaking African countries. Right now, there is a laser focus, especially Nigeria. So if you're Nigerian, pay attention and listen closely. I know, I'm a Nigerian myself. I know, sometimes you're like, okay, here, go help me file this divorce. Go fix this thing for me and give me the papers. You've not vetted whether that divorce was registered correctly, whether it was input correctly, or that information was input correctly. It is going to come and haunt you. So you want to make sure that you are doing a proper divorce. Using Nigeria, for example, you want to have a divorce nisi, you want to have a divorce absolute. If you're getting divorced in Lagos High Court, you want to make sure that we can find you on your divorce in that Lagos High Court. You want to make sure that that divorce is registered with the Ministry of Interior, right? So your divorce decree has to be valid. It has to be valid. If not, it is painful to go through the whole process and know that you could be approved, but because you don't have a valid divorce, then they would say, you were never free to marry. So granted, you and your wife have a bona fide relationship, but technically your wife or your husband is not really yours because you never fully got divorced. So it's really important to have the right divorce decree. Okay. So otherwise, he's one and only. There's nothing else that's needed from your ex. So focus on your current spouse. Just make sure that you have the correct divorce decree. So Kenzie on Instagram says, I received my prima facie determination letter last week. Because what is the next step for me and how can I get my work authorization with that? So you cannot get your work authorization with a prima facie determination letter. A prima facie determination letter, for those who don't know, that is a letter that you receive when you file a valid petition and they say that you've met the minimum standards to qualify. So it's not a guarantee of approval at all. It's just telling you that, because you've met the bare minimum, we're going to give you this document to allow you in some states to get your driver's license, to get state benefits like, public assistance, financial aid, while we continue to work on your case. And it will cover you and your children, regardless of where your children are located, either in America or outside of America. What gets you your work permit is actually the I-485 adjustment of status that you file along with that valid petition. So if you didn't file one with it, you're not going to get your work permit to your VAWA as approved, which could be 2 years down the line. If you filed one with it and selected the right category, then you will typically get your work permit in that window, that 5 to 8 month window that I mentioned. So Jude says, can I have your phone number for more information about TPS? Absolutely. My phone number is 407-995-6567, and it's actually scrolling through on the ticker. So you can just catch it and grab the information from there. Let's see. Ez says, hi, how are you? After a year and a half, my I-130 was approved, pending I-845. Do you mean your I-485 was denied? I refiled it again. I want to know if it's still in the priority date of the I-130 approval. Well, it just really depends. So what, because it depends, I-485 indicates to me that you're an immediate family member, so priority dates don't really count. So clarify that. Who's filing it for you? Is it your spouse? Somebody says, if I'm a TPS holder, can my wife, who's a green card holder, apply for me and adjust my status here in the USA? It depends. It really depends. It really depends what your current, how you entered into the country, and what your status is. Because right now they're making a couple of different changes right now with the world of TPS. So it's really hard to say, depending on, because basically what they're saying is that you're outside of your TPS status, your status reverts to however you came. So did you cross the border? How did you come in? So there's a little bit to it, and yours is one I don't necessarily want you to put on blast on there. So you can call me and, you can basically explain your situation to me, and then I can let you know. Chandria says, if I overstay my visa and I marry a green card holder, can I adjust my status? Unfortunately, you cannot adjust your status the traditional route if you marry a green card holder, because when you marry a green card holder, you're not considered an immediate relative. You're considered in the family preference category. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are in the family preference category, you have to wait for a visa to be available, and you cannot adjust your status as an overstay. You have to request for a waiver of forgiveness. No, let's say waiver of forgiveness. Well, a hardship waiver, basically say, look, I overstayed. It's going to be difficult for my spouse. If I get deported, when they approve you, you have to go back to your home country. So 2 exceptions. If you overstay and you marry a green card holder, if your green card holder eventually becomes a citizen or is already seeking citizenship, you can wait for them to seek citizenship or apply for your I-130 while they're seeking citizenship. And then when that's done, you can then adjust your status because they become a U.S. citizen. Sorry, guys, I'm going to take a sip of water. As you guys can see, I'm trying to drink more water. I talk so much. So, and I forget to drink water, so I'm trying to be good about drinking water. So as I was saying, so that's one exception. The second exception is if unfortunately your spouse is abusive. So if your spouse is abusive towards you, and they're a green card holder or they're extremely cruel to you, you can adjust your status simultaneously. You don't need to leave the country. You can stay here and do that. Wachina Melu says, what is TPS, please? TPS is temporary protected status, and this is something that they're giving to citizens or nationals of certain countries. For instance, like, if you're from Haiti, as of last week, they announced that they're giving them temporary protected status. So within those 18 months, while you have temporary protected status, you're allowed to stay in the United States, get a work permit, get a Social Security. You're allowed to work. They're not going to deport you. Okay, so this person, Oye, says, my VAWA case was denied because they said they couldn't verify my divorce decree. If that was genuine, I got a letter from the court in my home country verifying that was genuine. I have filed a motion to reopen. That's it. Those are your only options, filing a motion to reopen. So if your motion is granted, then you're good. If your motion is not granted, the question would be how long if you're currently divorced from your VAWA spouse, how long was the abuse? How long ago was the divorce? If the divorce was under 2 years, then you can just file again. But make sure that your divorce decree is genuine because, guys, this divorce decree thing is serious. Take it seriously. Get your divorce decree properly. Okay. Let's see what else I have here. When you remarry, did I answer this question already? I think I might have answered this question. Okay. So hi, my mom filed for me 17 years ago. Now I went for a visa in 2019. I got it 3 months, and then they sent my mom an email about my paper. She did not answer for a year, and then they sent her an email. She did not reply to the email, so my papers are not valid anymore. Cindy, call me. I'm assuming you're outside the United States. You can call me so we can see if we can basically reactivate your I-130. For those who don't understand, what she's basically referring to is that when somebody petitions for you and they file an I-130, when your I-130 is approved, you're usually given about a year to make activity or make some kind of contact with NVC to let them know that you're still petitioning. So, in some circumstances, they may reopen it, and stuff. So you can call me 407-995-6567. Okay. Um, okay, guys, I think I need to jump off for my next meeting, but it was fun. It was nice chatting with you guys. I will see you guys next week. Thank you, everybody. Bye.